Sirens Song by Kashawn Stafford. The sound of a siren has been the only thing I could hear since I woke up. It was as if nothing else in the world dared to make a sound, as if the city itself was holding in a ragged breath, afraid of what it would invoke should it release. I swallowed quietly as I gazed at the muted television, drinking in the glow it provided while I waited with bated breath for news of this god-awful time's end. Instead, it was the same message that had been rolling across the news station for the past day or so, about a plot to spread mass hysteria due to this weather event. To prevent this, we are told to lock our doors, close our blinds, and not to go outside. Instructions I took to heart, and though I don't fully know why I need to follow them, I can feel they're keeping me safe. I glanced over at the window to my left. The blinds were drawn shut, drowning the room in darkness, but the eerie fog's glow peeked through the small cracks in between them. My sense of unease grows the longer I look. The fog came a few days ago. It was a Monday. The day had started out normal. I remember leaving my apartment early that morning to go to work. I just graduated from college and they aren't paying for my housing anymore, so I had to make money somehow. That somehow came in the form of a retail job at a clothing store. Turns out, being a creative writer isn't the easiest job, degree or no. Nothing was out of the ordinary. Same clothing racks that never seemed to stay neat, same customers who were determined to keep me moving to clean after them, and same general atmosphere of contentment with underlying boredom. I remember driving back home once my shift was up, pulling into my apartment complex just as night was claiming the land from day. It had been there then, a fledgling, creeping at the edges of the complex as I made my way up to my door. By daytime the next day, it had grown into maturity, blanketing the complex and the city that surrounded it in its unnerving caress. As I stepped out that day to go to work, and the dayglow fought to pierce through the blanketed town, there was a sense of stillness to my surroundings. An almost crypt-like feeling permeated the air as I made my way down to the parking lot. I remember shaking my head as I unlocked my car door and climbed inside, chiding myself for letting my overreactive imagination get me riled up. However, I could not deny the relief I felt once I got in my car and locked myself away from that chill-touched fog. Work went about like normal for the most part, yet I could feel the oddity in the air as I retouched clothing racks and helped customers. There was a feeling unseen in the atmosphere, and it looked like I wasn't the only one who felt it. It was later that night on my drive home when the siren came. It was quiet at first, like a whispered secret between gossiping friends. But then it slowly began to rise, a long, unnatural keening sound, growing in decibel as it slithered through the fog and wrapped around those with exposed ears. As the volume rose, so too did my heart rate. I knew a warning siren when I heard one, and being on the road while it was going on didn't sit well with me at all. Yet the fog had thickened throughout the day, and that made my short journey home feel all the longer. An eerie chill soaking into my being. It took 40 long, anxiety-inducing minutes to reach my apartment complex. All the while the siren sung its symphony, feeding the night and whatever may lay inside it while pulling from me my long-cultivated sense of familiarity and safety, and replacing it with a seed of fear that slowly grew as time went on. I didn't go to work the next day. I had awoken with a sense of arcane dread that wouldn't allow me to leave my apartment. Turning on the television made me realize that I wasn't the only one this dread was living with. The local news stations were filled with reports of this odd weather phenomenon surrounding our town, and a tidbit of news that filled my veins with a fresh dose of worry. The siren song that was still playing outside my windows was not a product of the city. Something else had brought this chilling God song to us, and they were unsure who the culprit was. For the time being, the city was on lockdown, and all citizens were instructed to stay inside until the fog had cleared. It had grown so thick that you could hardly see 4 feet in front of you. Venturing out into the fog would see you captured in horrific isolation. So I didn't go to work that day, and contented myself with texting friends and working on a story of mine while I tried to ignore the alien situation that was staring into my safe haven. That was yesterday. Today, I'm prepared to do much of the same. I see no reason to leave when the instructions given in the news said to stay. I see no need to confront the fog that lurks outside these walls that hide me. And yet, I can feel something has changed. The siren song that has been a constant for a while now has been altered. It's not something I can put to words, but something that I can feel in the deepest part of my primordial self. Something has changed. I check my phone for messages in the group chat between me and 3 other college friends, and find that a lot has happened since I slept last night. Over 50 new messages have been sent, and as I have nothing better to do, I'll dive into them to see what has been said. They all seem standard for my friends. Jokes about the fog, and people running around playing siren noises to scare the town like some Scooby-Doo plot. It's in the last 20 or so messages that things change. One of my friends was being a dumbass and joking about going out into the fog to see what all the fuss was about. Our other friends had all shot him down, thinking that he was being idiotic. But the fool had apparently gone through with it. The next few messages are pictures of him out in the fog, bragging about how nothing was going on. Everyone else was telling him to go back inside, and those are the last of the messages. I shake my head and put my phone down. He's probably just trying to scare us again with another prank. It wouldn't be off-brand for him. Yet, as I look at the slits of sickly grayish light that jab into my living room and listen to this evolved song that weaved its way into my head, I can't help but feel my anxiety creep a bit higher. I sit back on my couch as I listen, trying to discern what could have possibly changed about the siren song. The deeper I listen, the more the song wraps around my entire being until it has drowned out my thoughts. And then I feel it. My eyes snap open and dart over to the blinds as I finally realize what has changed about the song. It's moving. That's why it was in flux. It is moving. Whatever is making that noise is moving. I rise slowly from my couch and take the few tentative steps it takes me to make it over to my window. The tiny shafts of light burn my eyes as I peek through the impenetrable gray and realize another horrifying truth. There are more than one. Whatever is making this noise, there are more than one. Before, the siren song had all been coming from one place, so it sounded like one song. But now the songs are spreading out, some softer, some louder, creating a newer, more dreadful tone. I can feel the realization settling into my core, and my imagination kicking into overdrive. What nightmarish entities skulk in the fog, ready to snap up any fools caught within? I think about my friend and his foolhardy foray into the fog. I can hear his screams, feel his fear as he runs for his life through a void of sameness as he was set upon by the apparitions. My phone vibrating scares me more than I care to admit. But it doesn't take me long to check who's calling. It was a video call from the idiot who went out into the fog. I calm myself as much as I can before I take a few steps from the window and answer. Then my heart skips a beat as I mute the call quickly. The siren song briefly coming from my phone fills my apartment with noise for the first time in forever. The fear that I feel now is welling inside of me is being reflected in my friend's eyes tenfold. He's surrounded by featureless white, a finger over his mouth, begging me to stay silent. I want to ask him if he's okay, where he is, but I can see from the scrapes and bruises he's covered in that he isn't. And the fog surrounding him would make sure he was lost. Once he's sure I won't speak, he reaches for something off screen and pulls it up as quiet as possible. It's a piece of paper, a little crumpled, and on the paper is a hand-drawn picture. The image is of something I've never seen. My friend was never an artist, so it's a little unclear, but I can make out tentacles and large, almost deer-like legs, but the rest is undrawn. Why didn't he draw the rest of it? After he was sure I'd seen it, he pointed towards his ears in a listening gesture, before pointing back towards the image. What was he trying to tell me? I guess my confusion was clear because he repeated the process with more fervor, trying to will me to understand. I was about to try and mouth my question to him when he glances up sharply, the fear in his eyes compounding. Tears well as he looks back down at his phone, at me, before he mouths a goodbye before ending the call. I can feel the fear welling inside me to a height never before reached. My imagination is kicking into overdrive again and getting the best of me as I tried to calm myself down. It's just another one of his pranks. My hands jittered in time with my heart. It wouldn't be the first time he's gotten me like this. My skin crawled. These sirens are just the result of some people trying to scare us like the news said. My friend is just being an ass. I let a chuckle out, trying to convince myself of my words. I turned to go sit on the couch before in my hysteria I did something stupid. I tripped and pulled down the blinds. White light invaded my room, casting away the darkness, and then one of the songs stopped. The false confidence I tried wrapping around myself like a blanket was ripped away, and fear found me again with the intensity of a hunter setting on its prey. As I slowly stand, all I can do is keep my gaze on the window. For a few moments, nothing happens. And then I feel it. The thud of something heavy touching the ground. Then again and again. It's moving. It's moving towards me. I want to scream, to run into my bedroom and hide, but I'm petrified. I can see something. A dark shape approaching from the fog. The black silhouette far larger than me. I can feel the ground vibrate with every step it takes. The world and I silent as we wait. It's impossible to see in detail, but I can tell it's tall enough that I can see into my second-story apartment. Large, tendril-like shapes lethargically slither around in the fog. Its quiet breaths buffet my window as it seemingly gazes down at me. For a moment, we stand still, staring at each other, my eyes wide and filled with horror as I gaze up at this shadowy beast. At this moment, the world stands still. And then, lowly at first, but ramping up in intensity like a triumphant and malicious cheer, the song returns. Like a dark choir, the sirens sing together once more, and not much later, my shrill screams join them.